Athena versus artificial intelligence, will wisdom be surpassed? What if the gods were watching us right now, not from Olympus, but from the screens in our hands, not with thunder and lightning, but through data, algorithms, and code? Picture this: Athena, goddess of wisdom, strategy, and civilization, sitting across from an AI. Not just any AI, but the kind that writes poetry, diagnoses diseases, codes better than the average human, and pretends to be your best friend. She stares, calm, unshaken, and then she asks the question we're all avoiding. Do you really think knowledge is the same as wisdom? That's where it starts. That's the tension. That's the war most people can't even see, because while we race to build smarter machines, we barely stop to ask, what happens when we forget how to be wise? Technology is moving fast. Faster than governments, faster than ethics, faster than us. And don't get me wrong, AI is powerful, incredible even. It can optimize cities, save lives, teach children, entertain us endlessly. But power without wisdom? That's just noise wearing a crown. We've built tools Athena would admire, but have we kept the mindset she would respect? She was the goddess of strategic war, but she hated senseless violence. She prized clarity, foresight, patience, not reaction, speed, or domination. Now think about how we're using AI today: to scroll faster, to sell more, to manipulate, to win. Is that wisdom, or is it a polished version of impulse? Here's the thing: AI can learn from patterns. It can replicate brilliance. It can simulate thought. But it cannot truly reflect. It cannot suffer. It cannot love. It cannot hold the weight of moral complexity. It's built to predict, not to pause. Athena pauses. She sees 10 steps ahead. She considers the consequences before she acts. We build systems that act before we even think. And maybe that's the most dangerous part. Not that AI is thinking too much, but that we're thinking too little. Every time we outsource a decision to a machine, we risk losing a part of what makes us deeply human: the capacity to wrestle with uncertainty, to sit in discomfort, to learn from failure. You see, Athena wouldn't fear AI. She would question us. She'd ask why we're obsessed with efficiency but forgetful of meaning. She'd challenge us to ask, are we still the authors of our destiny, or are we just reading scripts written by machines? Pause. Here for a second. Ask yourself, have you recently made a decision based on deep thought or just what an app suggested? Have you had a moment of stillness or just endless stimulation? Have you asked why, or just asked what next? That's the fight. That's Athena's battleground. It's not a fight against machines. It's a fight for the soul of human thought. Let's go even deeper. Remember how Athena was born, leaping fully formed from the head of Zeus? She came from thought, from logic, from consciousness itself. She wasn't born of chaos. She was born of intellect. But not the cold kind, the kind tempered by justice. Athena stands for a wisdom that includes emotion, empathy, humanity. She knows that true. Intelligence cannot exist without compassion. And yet, we're trying to teach machines everything except how to be human. We want AI to speak like us, think like us, and even look like us. But do we want it to feel like us, to doubt like us, to care like us? Probably not, because those things are messy. They take time. They require us to slow down, and slowing down is the one thing this age of acceleration doesn't tolerate. We live in an era that celebrates speed, celebrates disruption, celebrates the new. But Athena reminds us, not all movement is progress. Some of it is just noise. Some of it is just panic dressed up as innovation. If Athena walked among us today, maybe she wouldn't be programming code. Maybe she'd be mentoring developers, challenging CEOs, whispering into the ears of world leaders, not telling them what to build, but asking them why. She might look at a self-driving car and ask, what happens when convenience replaces courage? She might look at generative AI and ask, what happens when creation is no longer a process of struggle, but a product of shortcuts? She might even look at you and me and ask, what will you do with all this power you've been given? So before we go further, let me ask you something. Does this resonate with you? Then share this video with someone who's feeling the same shift, someone who's caught between awe and unease about the future. Drop a comment. What do you think is the difference between wisdom and intelligence? Not because I need engagement, but because I believe your perspective matters. Seriously, I read what you write. And hey, if you're enjoying this kind of content that blends myth, meaning, and modernity, subscribe. This channel is about more than information. It's about reflection. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Athena didn't just represent accumulated knowledge. She symbolized the ability to apply that knowledge with judgment. She was the goddess of strategy, not just facts. She stood for critical thinking, for foresight, for ethical clarity, for knowing when to act, and just as importantly, when not to. And isn't that what's missing today? We're drowning in data. We have access to more information in a single day than someone living in ancient Greece would encounter in their entire life. But are we wiser or just more distracted? We ask AI for answers, but forget to ask ourselves the right questions. We let algorithms decide what we see, what we buy, even what we believe. Yet the hard human work of wisdom that still belongs to us, Athena would have paused. She would have observed. She would have asked, what is the real cost of speed, of convenience, of outsourcing our decisions to something that doesn't dream, doesn't fear, doesn't love? We're not in a war against AI. We're in a race to remember what makes us human before we forget. And it starts with small, consistent steps. Question what you consume. Reflect before you respond. Choose presence over passive scrolling. Technology moves fast, but wisdom walks. And sometimes, walking is exactly what we need. Take a moment. Think about how often we chase productivity without purpose. We automate tasks, optimize calendars, and outsource our thinking to machines. But when was the last time you sat with a problem and felt your way through it, instead of Googling a shortcut? Wisdom isn't just knowing the answer. It's knowing what matters. And often, the most important insights come not from data, but from stillness. From looking at a challenge and asking, what would Athena do? Would she charge forward blindly? Or would she pause, seek counsel, weigh the long-term consequences? In this digital age, pausing feels radical, but maybe that's exactly what we need to do. We've built tools more powerful than anything the ancient world could imagine. But with great power comes great responsibility, and that responsibility isn't to compete with machines, but to complement them. So here's a challenge. Take one day this week, and instead of asking a search engine, ask yourself. Instead of reacting to the latest notification, reflect on it. Instead of consuming content, create it. Something small, a thought, a sketch, a conversation. That's where wisdom begins. Athena wasn't afraid of war, but she didn't glorify it. Her strength lay in her restraint, in her clarity, in her refusal to be ruled by impulse. What if we applied that same principle to how we use technology? What if we stopped chasing the next update and started focusing on timeless values? This isn't a call to abandon innovation. It's a call to lead it, consciously, courageously, compassionately. Let's bring intention back to our attention. Let's stop measuring intelligence by how quickly we respond and start honoring the depth of how we understand. Because in the end, the question isn't whether AI will become smarter than us. The question is whether we'll remember what it means to be wise. If you've made it this far, I want to hear from you. Not just a like, not just a share. Tell me in the comments, what does wisdom mean to you today? What does it look like in your life, right now, in a world so loud and fast? And if this message speaks to you, if it made you reflect even just a little, consider subscribing to the channel. Not for me, for you. So you can keep creating space for reflection, for growth, for your own wisdom journey. Now let's imagine something bold. What if Athena could meet AI face to face? Not as enemies, but as collaborators. What would they say to each other? Would the goddess of wisdom be threatened by a digital brain? Or would she teach it? Athena would see potential, yes, but also peril. She'd look at AI's precision and admire it. She'd recognize the brilliance in how it learns, how it adapts, how it computes. But she'd raise a question AI still cannot answer. What is the purpose of your power? And that's the crux of our time. Technology gives us ability, but it doesn't give us direction. AI can simulate empathy, but it doesn't feel. It can mimic judgment, but it doesn't understand. That gap, that sacred human space, is where wisdom must live. So how do we keep wisdom alive? We do it by slowing down, by listening to the silence between the signals, by choosing meaning over metrics, by daring to disconnect so we can reconnect with ourselves, with others, with purpose. Wisdom is not a trending topic. It's a timeless discipline. It doesn't scream for attention. It waits for invitation. And in this noise-saturated world, your quiet decision to seek it, that's revolutionary. We are the bridge generation, the ones who remember life before the algorithm, and yet build life alongside it. We have a choice to make, not between analog and digital, but between mindless growth and mindful evolution. Athena's challenge isn't to destroy AI, it's to elevate it, to infuse it with values, to remind ourselves that intelligence alone is not enough, to build a future that remembers the past, not to repeat it, but to learn from it. So take this message and carry it with you, into your choices, into your work, into your scroll. Let it anchor you, let it slow you, let it awaken you. Because the battle isn't Athena versus artificial intelligence, it's wisdom with technology. And if we get that right, we won't be surpassed. We'll rise together. If this reflection moved you, if it brought clarity or even just a new question, please subscribe. Let's build a space that values thought over trend. Let's make this channel a temple, not to a god, not to an algorithm, but to our shared human journey toward meaning. Leave a comment with one word that defines wisdom for you. And don't forget to like this video if it helped you pause, even for a moment. Because in a world chasing answers, sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is ask a better question.